So luckily I wasn't expecting too many people, so it's going to be a nice, easygoing workshop. So I'm Niall, I'm from IES, and we are coordinating the Minority Report. And we were in cluster meetings with all the projects, so I guess what we can do is introduce ourselves, because there's not many people here. So we're the coordinators of Minority Report, and we're technical lead in multi-care. So I guess I'm going to probably cover those two projects because I don't see anyone from multi-care.
Sorry to interrupt. Hi.
Hey.
Morning, hi. I'm Chloe Kaima.
Oh, perfect.
Spania.
Oh, perfect. Nice to meet you. There we go. Perfect.
Sorry.
So what I'm going to just suggest really quick is just everyone in the room introduce yourself and just say what project you're representing, or if you're not representing, you're just here to find out stuff. Just let us know. So, do you want to go ahead first?
Yeah. So I'm Giorgia Spigliantini. I work for Rena Consulting as PA. I am an R&D manager, actually working in the energy business unit, but today I'm substituting a colleague that coordinates multi-climate. I wrote the proposal, so I should know something, but yeah, I hope I can do my best today.
Yeah, no worries. Do you want to go? We'll go this way, so.
Yeah, hello everyone, Tommy Kutuko from the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology. I'm not representing any project here, just curious here.
Perfect.
I'm Mia Ala-Juusala from VTT Technology Research Center from Finland. And I'm not representing any of these projects, but our team is called Resilient Buildings and Districts.
Oh, perfect. So yeah.
So very interesting for me.
Yeah, good. That's good. Very good.
I'm Leena Eerolainen, also from VTT, and I'm here for this session today, and tomorrow I'll be presenting about citizen energy resilience.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. There you go. Yeah.
My name is Valerie Bahr. I'm from Steinmeier Europazentrum. We are partner in multi-climate. We are, myself, I'm heading the unit of energy, mobility, and climate. And later in my session, there will be multi-care. And we are also in several projects, Real House, Circular, Supremos, Stand, and many more that are here. We usually take over the lead or the task of dissemination communication, social innovation and innovation management.
Awesome. All right, that's really interesting for today as well. So, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. I'm Yanis. I'm from Singular Logic. We are involved. I'm not involved in the Clean Waste project or any of the other projects here. We're involved in multiple different projects about the environment, energy efficiency mostly. So I'm here because I find it interesting and because I want to talk about moral support.
So hi, I'm Antonia, from Singular Logic. I'm the project manager of Climate, and also Singular Logic is the coordinator of the Climate project.
Perfect. Awesome. That's good.
Good. I'm Stefania, and I'm the coordinator of the Dharma.
Perfect. Awesome. Do you want to just introduce? We're having a Horizon Europe AA meeting where we're all introducing ourselves. So.
My name is Magda. I am Dissemination and Communication Manager from Multicare.
Oh, perfect. There we go. Excellent. Thought it was on my own. Yeah. We're all introducing ourselves, so you might as well understand it. Where are you from?
I'm from Italy.
Oh yeah, sorry. What, any projects?
Okay. Sorry?
Any project you're affiliated with?
No, I'm from a project, which is called Superhero.
Okay.
I'm an NGO.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Okay. I might wait till everyone gets in and then I'll explain because we could be a while. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is just going through the slides very quickly, just explaining each project so you get the context of what each project kind of represents and what they're doing. And then we'll have kind of a breakout into 2 or 3 themes, bit of an icebreaker. And then we're going to work with a Miro board. So if you have laptops, that'd be perfect. So we can all kind of work together. But what we might do is, if there's lots of people, we might just get 1 or 2 people on laptops in a team. And we'll actively work on 2 different kind of workshop structures. One is basically mapping out resilience assets and their associated risk. And then the next part is to see how that all comes together in the context of the city. So you'll see it makes more sense when you see the mirror board, but for now, what we'll do is go through the slides. And yeah, so again, for me with workshops, they're kind of relaxed. So if you feel like grabbing a coffee or something and bringing it in or bringing in food, by all means, go out and grab whatever and we'll work together as teams. So what I'll do first is start with climate. So is it someone, yeah, you're here. Do you want to just briefly introduce it?
Yes, so Climbres is title is Leadership for Climate Resilient Buildings. The consortium consists of 21 partners. We have 3 large-scale pilots, one in Spain for heatwave, one in Greece for wildfires and earthquakes, and one in Italy and Slovenia for floods. And we also have a pilot located in France for multi-hazards. It consists of 8 services, let's say, for tactical, and we'll see the rest later on. So Climbres will support the adaptation of vulnerable buildings to climate change by providing the following key results. An assessment methodology for vulnerability and risk analysis, the inventory hub, which consists of different measures that could be used by the stakeholders, relevant stakeholders of each pilot site, and the decision toolkit. Next slide, please. So this is the overall service map. We have the inventory hub of climate resilient buildings, which is this catalog that I just told you about. The data exchange platform, the strategic level decision support service, the smart evacuation service, and the technical services that consist of the urban heat, flood, structural and seismic, and fire resilience services. Also, I wanted to share a short video with you for smart evacuation, but yesterday my laptop just broke, so I don't have any laptop. And okay, let's move to some of the key achievements. So I color-coded each of these key achievements in management, stakeholder engagement, technical dissemination. We had the kickoff meeting in Athens in June 2024. After that, we had collected through also stakeholder engagement, some technical requirements and user requirements. Then the release of the first wave of the technical services, which is the urban heat, the flood, the earthquake, and the fire services. We have this already the catalog with the measures for heatwave, 42 measures, for floods, 21 measures, and for wildfires, 25. A list of hazards per pilot based on historical data, which is also linked to the data collections from the pilots. The VR prototypes for flood, fire evacuation training, which is the video that I wanted to show you, but unfortunately I can't. We have participated in 3+ events and conferences, and we have joined the Resilience for Built Environment cluster, where the rest of the projects are also part of this cluster. And that's all from my side.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to introduce the next few projects briefly. One's called Multicare, and the other is called Minority Report. So there's some continuity between the two, but I'll briefly describe what they are, and hopefully my colleagues from Multicare won't be like, that's not what the project's about, but I think we're okay. So Multicare is a resilience-based project looking primarily at 4 kind of key areas of resilience. One is earthquakes, heat waves, flooding, and I can't remember the last, but they're part of they're part of 4 pilot sites across Europe, with TU Delft leading or coordinating the project. So fundamentally, what it is, it's a heavily engineered concept of resilience. So it starts from the building level, which is, as we see here, these are Italian partners working on modular exoskeleton infrastructure built over buildings to help them both with their thermal resilience, but also with their ability to withstand earthquakes, so giving them additional support. But it's a plug and play kind of concept of resilience for the built environment. So it starts at the building scale with these kind of localized concepts of building in the infrastructure, having both thermal resilience, earthquake proof, and having IoT interconnected with the infrastructure. But then we take that scale and we scale it up to district scale. So it goes to trying to map out hazards at a large scale. So if you think of it more like EPCs for buildings, like energy certs, but it's a methodology for identifying various vulnerabilities in the building stock and then certifying it based on its localized risk. So it's essentially a very well thought out, structured and engineered project on trying to adapt the built environment for risk, starting from the buildings and working their way up to district scale. And so with that, we're going to move quickly into Minority Report, which is using similar concepts, so having the same principles in terms of trying to monitor risk and going from primarily for district scale rather than building scale, but there's more of a social science element that underpins Minority Report project, where we are trying to take these tools and then see how people interact with them, specifically local stakeholders, NGOs, local communities, as well as the experts that are affiliated with each pilot site. It's a smaller project, so it has 3 pilot sites, one in Dublin, another in Greece, and the last one in New Zealand. And the focus is on flooding, earthquakes, and wildfires and heat waves. Wildfires was the last one. That's what I couldn't remember. So basically, we're taking these 4 kind of cornerstones. Both New Zealand and Greece obviously suffer from flooding, earthquakes, wildfires, and heat waves. And Dublin really just gets a bit of flooding, but it's still important, even if it's not as a high-risk city. So what we're doing here is we're adapting all the tools, pulling them into like various different tools being applied to the project, and amalgamating them into a platform for everyone to use. So the concept is to try to design something that's for experts and non-experts essentially, and both public and private, and anyone basically involved in the pilot site, whether it be a local community group or the engineering department of, say, Dublin City Council. So the idea is to create this kind of space that breaks down silos and gets people thinking and seeing how everything works and what is actually risky. So that's the prototype we have now for the tool we're rolling out, but Multicare is essentially an engineering project, and Minority Report is a bit more social science. And this is just the last iterative bit. So we build a tool, we bring in all the different modules that are involved in technology. So prediction tools, IoT, infrastructure, and other physics models that we bring in to generate data that's insightful. And then we introduce that to the users, and then they basically say what they found interesting, what they didn't understand. And we do this iterative user experience process to improve, just to improve the dissemination of these kind of complex risk models. So multi-time math.
I think it's my turn.
Perfect.
So hello again, I'm Georgia from RINA Consulting. We are the coordinators of multi-climate, even though I'm not the coordinator. So I will do my best. This is a project that started in 2023 in October, so we touched the 24 months now. It's a project composed by 21 partners all around Europe, and so there are 4 main demonstrators across Europe, 2 in the southern. So we have a pilot in Italy, in the city of Camerino, which is a small city affected by the earthquake a few years ago. And that's the main reason why it was chosen as the Italian pilot. Then we have Barcelona, where we are working mainly about heat waves, but not only about that. Then we have a pilot in the Netherlands, which entails droughts and floods. So we are looking at not at the built environment per se. I mean, still built environment, but in a rural, let's say, settlement. so looking at dikes mainly. And then the city of Riga, working in extreme weather events, so both about heating and low temperature distresses, and also floods. So the main objective of multi-climate is working in multi-scales and multi-hazards. In the different pilots we are looking at buildings, urban areas, and at the territorial scale at the same time. If you may change the slide, sorry. How we are doing this. So the main innovation brought by multi-climate is this CLEMA tool, which is a climate maturity assessment tool aimed at supporting decision makers to evaluate some interventions that could enable resilience to the built environment, either at the building scale, the territorial scale, or also the district level. So this tool looks at several hazards at the same time and provides the opportunity to analyze the current ability of the city, of the environment, the built environment to be resilient to certain risks, to certain hazards, but also to evaluate the potential of the implementation of interventions. Which interventions? So within the project, we are developing 18 design methods. So there are 6 design ideas, which, for example, they are guidance for implementing LCA in design, for enabling the resilience of people to extreme events. So more things related to the approach to design of intervention. Then we have 7 actual materials like innovative mortars and actual, let's say, envelope technologies that are developed in order to tackle specific hazards, and 5 digital solutions. For example, we have a tool for early detection of destruction after earthquakes or things like this. So all these 18 methods are somehow quantified in the impact that they could have for enabling the resilience at the different scales. And in this way, the intention is to help the decision makers to prioritize interventions, whether this is the retrofit of buildings or interventions on the infrastructure. So if you may change slide. How we are doing this. So the approach to resilience here is a very engineered approach, let's say, where we characterize the context and the multiple hazards is existing there, and then we calculate. We do a quantitative risk assessment, calculating the expected annual loss and other metrics that are related to for example, to the economic losses that we have due to several events that could happen, climatic events, but also earthquakes, as I mentioned before. And then, based on these very quantitative metrics and by simulating the impact of those design solutions that I mentioned before, we are able to say to the decision makers that, for example, implementing a digital tool could save a certain amount of money, for example, in case of an event happens. So this is approximately it.
Okay.
So that's on. Yes.
I am Stefania, and I'm the coordinator of the time. My presentation is very short. Sorry, I'm not so good, but our project is urban adaptation and alert solution for primary reaction. This is a project started on April of 2024 with 18 partners for 8 countries. We have different institutions, public authorities, including civil protection services, small companies, and so it's a very interesting consortium. We have 3 pilot sites in 3 different countries, different for the socioeconomic challenges and climatic condition and challenges. One is in Lisbon, in Portugal. The second is in Zina, in Slovakia, and then we have in Tartu, in Estonia. We will deploy, test and deploy 4 solutions that are some digitals and the other one physical. Our approach is the combination of advanced technologies and a very accurate socio-environmental analysis to define exposure resilience and define a more informed urban environment for all, especially for vulnerable people. We want to meet real-time needs, also considering official databases, social surveys, and other informal or grey literature to reach our knowledge about the cities, the social tissue, and to support our colleagues within our consortium to define more informal decision-making processes. So this is our overview of retired members, and we have also my colleague from ICONS that is the 2 communication, dissemination, exploitation activities. We can go to the second slide. This is an overview of our solution. It's very briefly. We have a sensor-based IT automated alert system. We have different kind of sensors for indoor quality, but also for assess the seismic behavior, for example, of a primary school. So our approach is to consider both houses, but also critical infrastructure within each pilot sites. Then we will have a digital building twins, a digital building renovation passport for selected buildings based on blockchain approach. And then we have a resilience knowledge hub, and this is a support platform. There are 4 solutions that are connected, and they will all inform and be integrated into the existing information system in the 3 pilot sites, but also are defined to be scalable across Europe. I believe that I'm fine. Yes, we have just this slide. I just want to focus that our approach is a people-centric approach, and all activities and solutions are defined to improve the well-being, the living condition of vulnerable groups. So besides the key stakeholders that are related to, for example, small companies or IT suppliers, our approach is especially focused to define, to co-create a built environment that is more inclusive and smarter, especially for Afro-descendant, indigenous, and migrant communities in Lisbon, children in all countries, disabled people with special needs, especially in Slovakia. Our focus is in a building for mentally impaired people. We also devise some design solution, for example, the hardware totem that will show some data from sensor-based IT system for all the people and Ukrainian or refugees or other newcomers to Slovakia and Estonia. This is a new challenge related to the socio-political scenario. So this is more or less our big challenge. Thank you for your attention.
Okay. So it's 9 o'clock on, was it Thursday? Normally when I come to these, you sit down for an hour and you watch people go through slides, and it's nice and relaxed, and you kind of take things at your own rate. Because this is a workshop, we all have to talk and communicate and work in groups now. So with that being said, I'm going to split the groups into 5, so we'll have 3 groups. But if you want to grab coffee, water, anything, I would suggest going out and getting it now. Because I just, 9 o'clock in the morning, having to communicate with people that are new, I kind of empathize and say it's going to be a bit of a slog. So, but we can, if you grab something now and come back in 5 minutes, or if you want to get ready, or you can just sit here and get ready, by all means. Just want to really quickly introduce my colleagues, Marina and Rafa. So they're going to help with each group, and I'll be in one group. And if anyone wants to use their laptop to help and work with the group, I can give you a Miro board link, or you can just work with the group leader, one of us, and we'll just write down what you're thinking and support. So yeah, just 5 minutes, you can relax or grab something to drink or eat, enjoy it, and then we'll get started. You guys can access it. No? Which link did you use? The bigger link? I'll explain this. I'm just going to check this here.
Yes, I can have this. Quindi l'ultima volta ci abbiamo messo fare in conto perché
You're talking, Richard.
Yes.
You figure out this keyboard. I was gonna see if I can log in here, but it doesn't really matter. It's so easy. No, this is not an Italian one, then I take it out. And it's yeah. All right. Where's all the clothes? It's okay if it doesn't work. I was just gonna put it up as an example. Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Yes.
Make it copy paste.
If it doesn't work, it's fine.
I'm gonna make it work. No, that's so.
You're committed. Okay. Yeah, I'll put it in. It's good.
Allora, tutto vissuto di energy in generale, non solo il mio gruppo, ma anche Power Generation, tutti dibattiti su innovative fuels, così è tutto messo per avanti.
I want me to sign up. Yeah, so I'm not typing the password online.
Vediamo quelli che sono stati implementati.
No, it's we're online live, so someone will just be like, watching me type everything in. So
No, noi siamo stati un po'. You want to start sharing your stuff?
Yeah, so I'll do.
Di nicchia, cioè quelle di 4 febbraio, 90, 100, polls, cioè come fa?
You see that?
Un po' normale come
That's okay. I have the laptop set up anyway, so you see it on each screen. Are you okay with? Oh, I'll explain this how this works, which is like it's actually pretty easy. I'll get one group here, put one group in the middle, and then one group in the corner. Do you need to plug in, or does anyone need to keep charging?
Well, I would prefer a leader.
Yeah, maybe you can go with it.
Your laptop is fine, I have, but you can charge it.
Okay. Perfect. So here, I'll show you my laptop. So all we're going to do is basically map out as an example. So we're going to follow this example here. It's a matrix, so you have the fire, heat wave, and then the different solutions, community, policy, retrofit. And then everyone's going to grab a sticker and go, boom. I thought I locked those, but let me just do that now. Yeah, so everyone's just going to put in, like, map out from their own projects how they've gone about, like, lock up. There we go. Yeah, pretty much just gonna stick things here and then connect them based on conceptual frameworks they might have not have seen. So I'll go through the example with everyone now, but basically we'll just, any idea, you just take it, so the color coding is design retrofit. Yeah. And then there's notes, so if anyone has anything that's different, and you can just connect them. And the connections are conceptual, so two-way, so it's like GIS, digital twin, and then like IoT, and that's a one-way, this is just the IoT, but then if it's like a database that gets updated, they interact, and then possibly where you're like, oh, what if that was it? These are the ones we're going to see, and like that's it. And then at the end, we're going to map it to that big picture at the bottom. Real simple, child-friendly stuff. We're good to go. Okay, guys, I'm going to just split us up into groups now, so we'll do one group in the corner of 5. So if you're already up here, you can join in. One group down here of 5, and just one group in the middle of 5. And how this works is we're going to work on a Miro board. I was hoping to share it on the screen here, but it's given me a bit of hassle. So fortunately, I can't do that. But we're going to just share it on each laptop, and each of my colleagues will just explain how it works, and I'll just make sure everyone's on board with what we're doing. So for the first 10 minutes, I'll just get you into the groups. So the 5 people want to just naturally go down here. Is there anyone? Ideally, we'd have one project partner in each group. So in case we all end up, I know. Yeah, if you want to stay in the middle, I'll come to the middle, and you want to stay up there. Yeah, perfect.
This should be one of the groups.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up? And then
This.
perfect. Yeah, and you can just join in the middle here. Rita, do you want to sit in the middle? And
Where?
okay, just anywhere, or wherever's comfiest.
I was gonna sit here.
Oh yeah.
I don't mind. I can sit around here.
It's just so we're not talking over each other in case it gets going.
Okay, so people move.
Yeah, just move around and jump in.
Yeah.
If you want to join in on your own laptop, I can take your email. I'm going to send you a link to join the. If you find that easier, just to write yourself on your own laptop, or you can let Marina know what you want to write. Do you want to take it for it?
You want to get closer? I'm not sure
how many of you are.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, go.
So I'm not the one group, and he's
Yeah,
another
and
one.
also-
That's what I got.
Ah,
Okay.
maybe just to.
Okay. Sorry. Then we move a little bit. I was confused. Maybe the chairs are very close together. Maybe around this time. Yeah.
So let's see.
So it's us. You all see me more or less what you can see. Yeah. It's gonna go over.
So I'm sorry, I don't remember all the names. I'll just try to catch everyone.
So are
So
all of
this
you
is the
working
map
in any of the
example
projects?
that
No.
want us to work on.
But some topics related.
So,
Or
as
just
the project, we have
related. Okay. Okay, because if not, you're gonna be lost because I don't work in this.
You give this a moment, and then
And then we have the different solutions. So the idea is to take all these.
I'll work with you guys here. Does anyone want to join with their laptop?
Niall, are you explaining for the whole group or?
Yeah. Sorry. I was gonna print out paper. It was like, no, that'd be too difficult. To figure it out, but yeah, sure. But obviously now I'm kind of regretting I didn't print stuff off because it would have been so much easier to draw pictures than to try and use these links. Whenever this decides it's going to load, I can show you. But essentially what we're going to do is you can join at the top here. So this is really, in my mind, it seems simple, but we might be just stuck going, this was a ridiculous idea. But we're going to have post-it notes, and what we're trying to do is map out, it's a matrix of mapping out a solution. So it could be policy, a community solution, a technical solution, or a design solution to each of the hazards that are mentioned above. So hazards at the top, solutions to the left. And the sticky notes have a color code for each solution. And essentially, you're just going to all work together now. You think about your project. It could be an IoT thing. It could be a physical solution that is not like the multi-care one that I described. And you can write that down and say, okay, here's our solution, and this is where it tackles. And what you want to do is then see how does it connect up or where its interdependencies are with other solutions. So for instance, if we're in a heat wave, so you're in the heat wave column, it'd be great if this actually popped up. I could show you. But basically, if you're in a heat wave, I'm going to just refresh that. Oh, perfect. Look at that. So I'm going to use this as an example here. So we got IoT sensors. So they're set up for environmental reasons. So they have heat temperatures and humidity temperature sensors in the sensors, and they can connect up to a urban heatwave GIS digital twin. So let's say the project was mapping out the risk of heat waves. So they built this platform, and it's a 3D map of a city. All the sensors are out and across the city. So there's a dependency here where they're geolocated, and it's just it's supposed to be the other way around, but the information will go into the back of this, and it's for the community. So it's linked across the community. It's knocked out of its frame here, but you can see, actually, so I just did that there. Let me just explain this a bit better. So Rafa, you can take team 1 and then Marina, if you go to team 2. Look at that. That's much better. Sorry. Rafa, you got the bad board. And then I'll go team 3. Basically you can see the interdependencies here. So the community digital twin. So this is an app that the community has to see whether it's hot or cold. They can basically go, all right, here's our community digital solution. what does it work with? So we get the IoT sensor is dependent. It comes in, pushes information in. There's a community alert app that has an API that connects to it. I know this is very technical, I'm very sorry, but that has a community alert app that connects to it. So that's interesting. And that app also serves purposes for fire, for instance. So it's like it's a heat wave, it's very hot, it's been dry. Some of the KPIs for fire alerts kick off to say it's windy, it's been dry for 6 days, there's a risk of forest fires. So it's an interdependent, the same applications using the same information. And then we think, okay, well, what else could we do to leverage that data and that methodology? Well, there's the EPC energy retrofitting going on. For resilient buildings, it's like, why don't we use information that's generated here or information generated here that can connect into that digital twin again, say, here's the vulnerability in the building stock. So why don't we put in something like fire resistant walls or certain policies to build X amount of distance from woodland or from something that's a fire hazard. So basically everyone's going to throw in ideas or things from their projects and they're going to map them out on this matrix. And then we're all going to try and figure out how they're connected or if there's any connections we haven't seen. That's pretty much what we're going to do for the next 20 minutes or so. And then when we're done and we have a really busy looking board, we can then bring it all down to the bottom in the next phase, which is, so we're just all aware, we're basically going to bring all our work to these spaces and then we're going to try physically map them out, like stick to sticky notes and then try connect them again, just to get more context and understand, is there areas that we're missing? This is an exercise of basically de-silo solutions where people are just working on one thing and then we don't realize there's an actual connection or an underlying connection between the two. So keeping it simple, with Marina and Rafa, what we'll do is just start literally writing down solutions from your project or ones you've heard of or anything you think is worthwhile, and then we'll map it out in the matrix. And then as we look at that, we'll try to start making connections. Sound good? And if you want the link, just let me know and I can email it to you, but I'll start working on the laptop here. And we can go ahead and start working at each team. So I'll go team 3 here. You guys can go ahead and start working away for the next 10-15 minutes. Okay. Anyone want the link or we use the laptop? Or you happy?
Basically, what we are doing here is we have a different hazard. And we have different items. The idea is that if your project or any project that in case you are not part of any of these projects, then you try to think, okay, how did we tackle floodings in this project, or what was the
Okay. Our board's actually up, so because it's in English, but that's not good, I think. My laptop's so small. Does anyone want the link? No link or? You don't have to, just. Yeah, we can do this? Okay, so basically we got a policy, social community, digital tech, design retrofits it, and then notes. So if there's something you didn't think fits there, you could see that. Here's a solution that we haven't thought of. So I think for the piece for the group, we can start with flooding and work our way across.
We can try to.
So yeah, is there any anyone want to start off with anything?
Yeah, I can start. So in multi-climate, there are some solutions concerning flooding. We have for sure a digital solution that I remember. I should just Marina simple check exactly how it is named, but okay, it was named area design. So basically, it's a system draining floors where I don't know how it's called. There are some sensors installed in dikes in the Netherlands used for other uses. And by detecting a certain metrics that are predictive with flooding or also of a drought, they can make some adjustment of the dike. So for example, if they expect flooding, they have a predictive model that will say that maybe in a few hours there could be a flash flood, for example, so they can raise the system in order to stop the water from invading the field.
Yes, it's okay.
So this is for sure one. Or maybe it could be two, because we have both the sensoring system, so the sensors in place, and then they have a predictive model for forecasting the floods, and also some controls, for raising the walls, let's say, protecting the street. So I would say that those are the main instruments that we have.
I don't know if it could be general,
Then
like need to
maybe,
be
still related
MBS.
to floods, in the design solutions, so like they are guiding
maybe we can
guidelines
what you were mentioning,
designing
waves.
interventions that are relevant somehow to the mitigation of risks. We have one for MBSs. So the MBS, some of those MBSs are actually effective for reducing flash floods in the urban environment. We are working in Barcelona about this. So yeah, this could be I don't know how you
my
call it,
project,
maybe
I will make
I'm sorry.
it's designed sorry.
mitigation I would have. So I use greenhouse.
Maybe it's a design retrofit. They are guidelines for designing.
Oh, guidelines, yeah, so we do
Yeah.
a policy and this is,
Okay. So it should be, yeah. That's how you write. No, bioswales and, rain gardens, some MBSs that are able to slow down the rainfall
Let me think.
in terms of velocity, so reducing the flash flood, which is caused this in Barcelona, as far as I know, to the fact that the infrastructure for handling the rain is not effective enough for very big phenomena. So via this kind of MBSs, bioswales, rain gardens, etc.
You said you are also going to use
The
this for
velocity
chlorine
of the rain can be slowed down, and in this way, also the flash floods risk is mitigated.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Was doing, I was at a NATO thing a few weeks ago. They were explaining how flash floods in war-torn countries, so if you have like half, let's say Ukraine, where they have landmines absolutely everywhere, they were looking at reducing the risk of the catchment area is what you're talking about. So they build in NBS to slow down the catchment and the velocity of the water. Because they often wash landmines into the city urban areas. So it's like, so you have flooding, and then underneath the water you have so it was like an idea of like, how do you slow that down and how do you catch twice reduce those and then same in Ireland, they're looking at NBS as well to slow down the catchment area so it stops that flash flood washing down into the city. So that's really interesting. So I've put this together as again,
so that
just
could
because
also
I'm
be one
running a small sheet to take over the board. So you can all see it.
It would be also digital. Good idea.
I'll go back here.
You made me think of
So you can see, I just kind of tied them together. They're all, I said auto dams, and I don't know if that's how you spell dikes, but I think that might be how you spell dikes. Unless there's a better word we can use, I'm not really sure. What is it? Is it canals or dikes or just this is in Amsterdam, dikes. Okay, I'm gonna leave that spelling as it is. So we're just gonna put these together in terms of the flood warning digital tool. So it's and that's the platform things work on. So these are the sensors. They're connected to the dam.
They could
And they come back up this way through. So so I'm just putting in design reference to the actual technology. So they obviously what they open down based on flood level. They're connected to the sensors. They go into the flood warning system, and then policy then contributes here. It's obviously you were talking about Barcelona, and it's slightly different, but I'm just putting many out just as an example.
from
Perfect. Okay, so now we can build off this and build up or down. Does anyone can they think of anything that you could be like, all right, well, we're doing something similar, or here's an idea.
Can you maybe,
You can,
just so
you
we
can use
can map
something
it out,
else.
maybe you can write
Could be
the
sensors,
name of the
policy,
project and the
community.
funding.
Other,
I leave it to you because I don't want to guess how to write.
Yeah, I don't know if, sorry, I don't know if someone else, like an early warning system for that as well. Multi-climate there is an early warning system that is actually also a digital tool for estimating the damages of certain extreme events. But as far as I know, there are
And
not,
the other
implementing
ones were also for the same
Yeah.
project or is for
Okay.
the
Even though it would be really useful.
Add-on of making the facade is also.
It's focused on water.
So like,
Then
It is a
tackles
system that simulates
So what did you
quite
mention about
accurately the
I will just develop
outcomes, for example, so it was born for earthquakes,
on how to.
but then it is used also for fire now.
Historical cities.
And basically, based on models, they can estimate the damages to buildings and infrastructures. So for example, if you have an earthquake, you know how strong it is, let's say. So based on that and where it happens, the system is connected to the National Institute of Seismic Science. I don't know how to translate this. But anyways, they will send automatically to the system information about where the earthquake took place and how strong it was. And based on that, the system is able to simulate the impact, for example, on bridges, on
the green path software is for the
on
same
relevant
data about
buildings like critical
The
infrastructure.
beginning of the seismic
And there
event.
is also a connection to an early warning to the citizens. So people can know, for example, if it is safe to take a road or another for
Well, I mean, if you have things more things to cover
in that case.
Yeah.
But for sure, I mean, now they are implementing also the fire, which is still somehow, let's say, it can be simulated in terms of the impact that it could have in buildings based on the building properties, etc., etc. So yeah, I think it could be done also for flooding. I mean, it's not in multi-climate, but I know that there are people simulating so based on the amount of expected rain and the topography of the city, they can simulate the outcome in terms of
I was there for a project there.
I'm just throwing in a few kind of random bits, not connected them, just to have as
And
extra
what
fuel
was
for the board, for want of a better word.
It's not for flood.
So we have a damage calculator, EVAC simulation tool, and then national platforms for earthquakes. But say risks, and put them in as comments just so we can throw it in. So does anyone have? Can you think of other kind of solutions from projects or things that you've been involved in?
Releasing also on vulnerabilities. I mean, such
And it's okay, like,
Okay, so it's like general.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe the projects that are involved in the workshop should start.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, yeah, that's. Okay, maybe I'll give an example in, so with the fire one here, I'm gonna give, we've been New Zealand partners, so they're working on a remote sensing tool, so that's digital technology. It basically uses mapped out, I'm gonna call it ORS.
Can you
and it
your name
maps,
because I don't know.
for want of a better word, the most flammable course and most probable course of forest fire. So it starts with so it's like a forest fire prediction tool, I guess.
How they could you come up with any ideas?
So basically how this works is they map all the vegetation, they take in climate models, so sophisticated climate models, and then they map the areas per square meter, like a really old pixelated picture. And each area has a risk KPI that basically says this is like shrub or bush, it's downhill from an electrical line or electrical station, or something else that could be a risk, or based on the climate files, this is a dry area that's very windy, and this kind of material is ready to go. So they know where the big areas where they expect the next fire to start. And then based on, they do every year or every day simulations for the whole year. Say if it did start here, this is its course, and then they use information in Excel from all that remote sensing stuff to basically say how quick the next cell will go on fire. So it's like, oh, this is made of a tree made out of petrol. It's going to go up very quick, and the heat only has to be 50 meters away from the jump. So they use all these information to map and predict where the fires might be, where they're going to go,
solutions on a community level. So not the
and
obvious
then they
ones,
use
but
that to
kind
help
of
understand where to build infrastructure. So it's like, let's not put this electrical line through this valley because the risk is
using the
that if
resources.
anything goes wrong or if the strong winds that day hit the wires and they spark, they will start a fire. So it's a kind of a, and the project's called Minority Report, so it's predicting the thing before it happens. So, so remote sensing, the digital tool is there, but it relies on data that's collected from government. So, so let's say social community data and remote sensing data.
So I have been involved in several things about resilience. For instance, now I'm in
And for that, obviously, you would need some kind of like policy. So it's not going to happen just like that, but rather it should be somehow.
Resilient and affordable effects, so positive energy
So maybe kind of like
so
bigger
that the district
of
scale would be
NGOs
a better way to support the resilience.
writing out what's their
or the
actual
energy
roles
resilience.
instead of just saying that they should
But I
participate and
really want to hear the social side, because so that's what we are in the other. Is that we're looking at the energy resilience of cities.
If you just put it,
It's important that we have found out
works
that
with
some
these
of the
metrics where you
NGOs
analyze almost
a very
everything
big
about
role in the resilience,
and
in the
one of
energy
the
resilience.
other
Also
sustainability issue is the resilience and the flood and so
they
that
have a
is
lot of, they may have some
policy
equipment, but they also have a lot of knowledge and
that
local
is really interesting because allows to cover sustainability in a very large panel, not only energy, not only sustainability, not only resilience. And yes, resilience is one of them, and gives
in the
a
events,
very
there are some
interesting
then
system that
it also gives
complicated to describe. It's
feeling of
quite
hope,
a large
that I can do
standard,
something,
but
I can
also
contribute to this.
gives
When
many
you know
benefits
people
for
can do that,
management.
and that has been also that someone has to collect this information
Focus on
somewhere.
territory, community,
Who
and
knows what they can do.
and let's check if we have other.
Equipment, for instance,
a very large panel.
they can offer if they have like
And as a
batteries
council,
at their place.
like that,
Helium
I would
batteries,
have
then
an
they
other
would
one.
support
We
the
use
others
standard
with
I would have another.
charging
time
phones or something
for
like
the
that.
intervention. And I
elections.
And we have found out that
examples
maybe the
of,
city is the best place to
solutions.
collect this information. So the best level
then
to
we
collect
put
this
in
information.
place as
Because
example
they
where
also
we
know like the local
used
situation best.
what
Amazing.
Not on national
to
level,
use
and not on
second-hand
NGO level, because then they don't know what the other NGOs can do.
I
Yeah.
guess they are
Awesome. So it's a
going
bottom up
to storage,
policy
for
to,
energy.
so starting from the citizens and looking the data to understand. Okay.
Reuse, yes, second-hand batteries because you have the one use for the cars.
But that's not from respect.
That when are not
like national.
efficient anymore, you can reuse them.
for buildings.
This is gonna get very messy, but it's okay. Let's bring all this down and try to stick it on a map at the end.
So you can have.
That's really helpful. And yeah, energy being so
energy,
important,
and then
keep the lights on, keep everything going during events. So
Possibility
interesting. Does people have any other suggestions? Any other themes they think?
army or
Yeah,
maybe
that was the problem.
so let's
Very not that evacuation,
Change the perspective.
fire and flood. At this point, it's only for like outdoor areas. And so maybe so this
And the isometric
here,
is interesting is
trains,
Either
the I don't know, the relevant stakeholders,
which is I think very interesting. Has this been applied quite
the relevant
several
stakeholders
examples in France?
could be used for various scenarios, for floods and fires. And it's like a game, actually. It asks you some questions, so what
You said
would you
47,
do
101.
if you see a
37,
fire?
32.
Would you run out, or
101,
would you
yes.
take the fire extinguisher? And then you have the right data.
Maybe I mentioned also
Answers.
might be
And
relevant. So we were doing like climate change. The idea was to create a model which will predict the impact of climate change on economic sectors like agriculture, tourism, and so on. So I'm from Georgia. We did it for country Georgia.
So it's a proactive measure.
So I would say other because
Yeah, it includes multiple things. Yeah, rising temperature, droughts, floods, and from countries.
but you did something for the whole country.
I did it for the whole Commonwealth.
satellites. There is no policy in Europe how to
So I have that there, so okay, it's a view or two from the community then, so they train, let's behave, and then you're saying it's like a training tool, so that's so what to do in emergency from a policy side of things.
So we built this tool actually, and
It's
now
a
the
behavioral
government
part
is
as well, I
using
guess,
it
for the community. I'm gonna put that
for
as
for planning policy.
So as a tool, it's not, all the solutions don't always have to be engineered, they're obviously, you
That's
know,
also one of the
training.
that would be important to have the training.
Yeah, it's called CRED is the name for it. RED.
Has situations,
Use that kind of
also the resilience after like 72 hours, like not very long time, but what to do in the 72 first hours. And that in the schools even.
I think about storm.
Perfect, I like seeing the community stuff here. I'm kind of just mixing matching over the flood, fire and general risk, because it's
For policy planning.
it works for them all, so that's a nice little track going.
Can I add something for heatwaves?
Yeah.
So I'm not a health expert, so in very simple English, I would tell that
Georgia is actually small,
that a map
different climate
saying
zones, so different parts of the country have different
heatwaves. This
So
tool
try to
is
include as many
implemented in
aspects
Barcelona
of climate change.
for heatwaves. And it shows the most vulnerable areas of Barcelona in terms of heat. And then it also integrates some alerts, and when there is like very high temperatures, some measures go up and inform the.
And do you have like
the end user on what measures to take?
Perfect.
Or is it very
Risk alert.
What kind of policy will?
I was going to add
Meaning you don't know, like,
They
for
may
policy, we can
try
assume
to
that we want
extra
to
areas for the
I don't know, like,
It's
number
not.
of.
I can also add to
It's not
I don't know what
to
you're
energy
feeling.
efficiency in buildings. So one of the services that are provided
Represented in
are
that
what
section.
thermal
I remember
Yeah.
some of
About
the
one
important
thing.
things.
its main purpose is
For example, we have
to
a
adjust
winter
the
resort
HVAC
and
systems inside the building.
there is the
according to the
problem
comfort
of
that
snow
provided by
related to climate change.
managers. So
They
in
predicted
order to maximize
how
energy
severe
efficiency,
this
it
problem
works
could
with
be in the
sensors
coming years.
that are installed in individual buildings. They detect if people are inside the building, inside the specific room, and target the specific air conditioning units in order to
Also, there is a
so
drought problem in some of the regions, and it's for agriculture.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. We often look at it that way from IS. We're almost like, hey, like energy savings, but energy resilience as well. So it's similar concepts. It's good thinking.
Also crazy.
That's also something that we found in our
Well, Italy as well.
research, that this
now
energy
everywhere.
efficiency is a very important part
I
of
myself
energy
was not
resilience,
involved, but
because
the
buildings
flooding
that are energy efficient,
is very
they
big
are also
problem for
used
Georgia
to
as well.
energy
And
resilient.
Yeah,
I remember
And,
the last
this is also
reforms was
related
just
to the
introducing early
vulnerability,
warning
because
system
when you
that
don't have money
actually we did not have a couple
upgrade
of
your
years ago.
building, then you
A lot
are
of people
less
died.
resilient.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
I
some
can-
policy thing that
can imagine
to provide funding for the
regarding that, even if
or
you
energy.
I myself was not.
did not work socially, like I can give you, it could be.
I've actually listened a lot there, and now I'm trying to figure out what's the best way of mapping this out. So any suggestions of how I map this out? I'm gonna start with policy here, so.
Maybe this energy resiliency things
even
that I'm talking about
if
are
they
not
didn't work
related
on
to
it,
the
I think
different
it's
hazards
relevant
so
to
much, because they
mention
can
it,
be
because I think
related
also what
to
we're
any
doing
of
here is
those.
just gather ideas.
So it's interesting, multi-care, the part we're working on is very much about that concept. It's like, if you're decarbonizing, so you have EV, you have batteries, you're trying to be as efficient as optimal. The great thing is that with that infrastructure, it's like, we did it with last year with a town in Ukraine, when their energy is getting knocked out basically by foreign actors, or Russia. How could they keep the lights on? How to keep the infrastructure going? And it was like, well, we don't want to just give them something, or you don't want to build something just for a huge event that's to do with an invasion, and then it goes to waste at the end when the war is over. So we're like, why don't we try to tie all the climate action policies, the emission policies, into something that's tangible now that helps them. So it was that exactly what you said, and exactly what you said. It was turning the energy infrastructure for decarbonization into something more. So we could
Mostly what they do
island,
is
like
an awareness campaign.
where they get knocked off. That's why they're not going into their own mode or
Fire.
and just use the PV as a battery optimally based on what you need. Well, you need to keep the heating going, and you need your water running, and you need communication. So it just prioritizes that. And then we pull in the SRI as a part of that equation as well. So it's built for European future. Bring all those policies together that works for you now for what's happening in Russia, and then keep using it as you integrate back into the EU. So it's like joint up thinking far ahead. It's really interesting you're saying that, because that's exactly what you're saying.
I'm from Finland.
Okay.
We have
I don't know in your countries, but like in Spain,
and
at least in my hometown,
we
I
have
know it's not everywhere, but for example, for earthquakes, there is, I don't know if I
you never know.
I don't think I
You
should
can
be
be
doing
friends
because
for
it's
some while and
already
then
being
somehow
done for
what
like
happens.
since my
So
father
we
was
have to be
born,
prepared.
and it's like these are prepared for
There's
earthquakes in
also
my
some
hometown.
very old
So
Finland, so it's related
as well, no? So I think it's maybe that's generic. I don't know if, because it's like high seismic risk
interesting. It's,
areas are already prepared.
It's the way the world
So I
now,
don't
but
think
it's
that's
about
something
how do we make it all work. That adaptation and mitigation is working together. So sorry, there's a lot there
because
to
the
kind of
buildings have to
consume.
be,
So
it's what you
someone
said,
want to help me
they're
try
already policies
translate that
like
onto
it's not
this
being
map here. So
anything
energy resilience
like
for
there
risk
are rules
as a policy.
for like the height of the buildings is limited, the structure has to be like
here
I don't know how to say it.
Multi-climate, we
Open
involve
project here
local
to say in
Germany,
Germany.
Slovakia,
Harder structure than maybe I don't know in another city next to ours.
let's say, technologies
in a
that
public
are
hospital.
developed.
And for
there
the
is a
group
group
of
of
architects
architects
working there.
Okay.
And one of the studies that they do is about
Because I think now it's also
human building resilience,
set up
which
other
entails two things at the same time. So on the one hand, they do laboratory studies about how different samples feel differently.
Yeah, but
comfort.
here
And we know it is an evidence that a person from Finland has a different sensation and reports a different sensation at the same Celsius degree
Yes, I
than
feel
in
that it's
Italian.
more
Okay?
difficult to manage
So
this
one part
kind
is
of
about
risk.
that because
Yeah, for
today
sure.
we have
Now, in our case,
international
the
standards
weather
and
is
European
like
guidelines for design.
there are also gonna be
consider,
high-risk areas.
you know,
Also
people
related
from
to
everywhere in the
storms,
same way, and you know that the temperature of comfort in the winter is approximately 2022, and in summer it's I don't know,
Around
24,
So there's
26,
no,
something like that.
Cities that have been
Of course,
like
this is too simple to be true for a number of reasons. So on the one hand,
even there are
there is
policy
a
and so on,
necessity to have a
it's
more
many
in other
comprehensive
cases,
approach to determine
if the
sensation,
municipality is
which
not
is very
able to
much
have the money
related
to the maintenance,
energy resilience,
the river
energy
is stuck.
of
I
members.
don't know,
and
like this
That's
kind of
usually
things are not
management of the
building,
building
it's
is
more
because
what
if
is
they feel well,
around.
So they are supposed to
knowledge
do
of
the
the
same.
thermostats, they don't
on
feel well,
territorial
probably
scale,
if they can,
because has
if
a
they're
strong
able
impact
to,
on
they do some
single
kind of
building and
adjustment.
cannot do
So the
everything
second
just
part
on
here,
source.
and the thing that we are working on
Yeah.
with climate,
is surgery next week.
trying to create some guidelines for people
We are
on
reaching now like
suggesting
very
what they could do for ameliorating their comfort, well-being, whatever, prioritizing actions that are not energy
Definitely, this is
costly. Okay.
So,
So working on interfaces, windows, doors, sorry,
More clothes on.
exactly, scarves, and you know, trying to put them in an order for which the activation of an active system is kind of the last step of all the things that you could do in order to feel better, drink hot beverage, etc., etc., etc.
Not, how can I
So
say,
I think
that are not
that
demanding
this is
so much
also quite
energy.
important. I mean, now we are
Yeah,
thinking
putting
more
other
of
than
the
the-
cold situation. It's more
I observed
important
in
in
our
the Mediterranean area for the hot situation. Because there are many things that could be done by individuals that maybe our grandmas already do, but the young they are a little bit less prepared in these terms. And so I think it's very important. I think it's also one of the main innovations that Climate wanted to promote is to look at the human as one of the scales of analysis and of action. Because we normally think about buildings, you know, what you can do on the things, but there's so much that we can do as humans.
Oh, I just love that because my PhD was about different scales of energy positive neighborhoods. And the reason I started in the room, but that was about thermal comfort of human.
Yeah.
And the concept that we are using there was the human body energy consumption rate.
Yeah.
So that tells
That
much
would be
more
it.
than
If
the
you
like the temperatures.
Yes.
Because that is what we use for or,
For example,
just
regarding climate change.
and the comfort thing is also that if you feel comfort, you are much more productive.
Yeah.
You can do much more things. You can think clearly, especially in the
To engage people that
You are
we,
from Multicare.
yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna give them a warning. So in 2 minutes, we're gonna start transferring all the those networks we've been building, and we're gonna bring them down to this map. So you'll go down to the left, right, you'll see your workspace, and then we'll just start mapping it out. And they're all, yeah, I think they got that.
Sometimes,
Okay,
especially in
so
social houses, people.
so if they're, I'll be just trying to link these based on what I'm listening to. From you guys. Oh yeah, sorry.
So
Go back
we
here.
had
Our
this
suggestion-
in Romania and in Italy as well.
Yes,
Same problem.
and our suggestion is.
Can you probably not read those very well? But let's start with let's say, is there any way, can I interact with this? Oh, I can, perfect. So if we're gonna link some of these conceptually, so I'm just gonna show you down here, possible links, so to do this next. Out of everything we talked about there, is there any potential for crossover between all those risks, whether it's flood, fire, earthquake, or anything there? I know we didn't go that far down, but does anyone see anything, so like the damage calculator, for instance, any kind of conceptual link there, we think? I feel like everything goes in the damage calculator, yeah.
It's only one
So let's
way,
put that over
one
the
is
top,
informing
and
the
then,
other.
So you're more talking about.
And then we identify the
not so
possible
much about
links.
the,
So maybe let's try
I'm saying
to
that.
I'll just start here.
we do it. For example, there were some
I don't
that
know, maybe the
were
MBS
already
to slow down not only rainfall, but maybe also.
we got the
I'm gonna go back to
one
my laptop, that's very tricky.
There is some.
Where
that the digital twin was informing the
So for the MBS, isn't it?
for the wireless.
Sorry, yeah, maybe this
Very
could
direct
work also
way.
for.
And then the future problem, they are more aware of the importance of these activities and will not probably some economic support because they understand different reasons. Like first step is
I'm just gonna call it improve res.
some direct
MBS to improve res, so.
support or like
any of
training session or
Cooling.
some entertainment activity or
Is it
something that
possible
can
it works for
help
fire as well? I
us
don't know. It always feels like it's a fire risk
the
to put more
knowledge
vegetation in there.
about
But
this,
is there any like fire-proof plans?
especially, I don't know.
The grid was
Earthquake
some
stability, I don't know, is there any trees out there that's good for earthquakes?
Number
Or
of other
anyone
emergencies
with a
like
botany here?
The adaptation
unemployment, and so they are not so ground interested in
Okay,
questions related to the, I don't know, climate or.
oh,
You
perfect.
this one is
Mhm,
yeah.
that's what-
nature is wonderful.
Let's
Would
try
you-
to
Summarize
the
it
one
this
to
way and put in
Risk
policy
on
incentives.
Because I have seen
And then
trees.
connect it to it, and then I put like a comment saying having first
Yeah.
incentives for the piloting
Reduce the risk
of
of
to
I can't
increase
even
the
see them.
wetness
landslides.
Yes.
Okay, so MBS is.
And build,
by
build
proving the
trust,
benefits.
build trust
And
of
from a
step by
digital
step.
point of view, yeah.
This is a process that.
Yeah,
takes some
like
time.
for
I'm actually just
I
gonna
don't
write
see
these
any-
as just stickers
Yeah,
on
the
top.
community,
Instead of trying to
should
connect them,
see
so I think
the results
holistically
from
they
the
kind of,
others before
Yeah.
being
they'll just
like,
drip down as we put it out in the
see
map.
it from the others.
Anything else? Out of all those?
So
that
we
you
like
think
the
you
first
think
one
of
was
that connects or
good investment.
that you think
trying to
For example, in our case, we also,
that could work?
for some citizens that were really hard to convince.
I've seen a lot of nice
We
bottom
moved
up
to
stuff
the,
here, so from the bottom, citizen side,
with
in the
batteries.
community says,
And
Yeah.
They just, the technicians just,
that kind of bottom up approach, getting local data. Just one more example,
Using the electricity of the.
a bridge that collapsed in Ireland to Dublin, a couple of years
In
ago.
that case, they were more,
And it collapsed
Really?
because of a lack of communication between
but they still,
different
said that we are
colleagues
using
as
the
the,
Wi-Fi.
as new
And it
new
got
people
them-
joined
One,
the
I don't know
engineering
why
firm
I
that
have
managed
it
the bridge.
Somebody, but that's-
The older
that's
ones,
what
the old
they
guards
pay
who were
just-
part of
It's
building the bridge knew there was something called
It's
exclusion, maybe it's called.
because it
And
addresses
so
even
the
heat
digital
waves, I mean,
transformer
heat
transfer
wave
paperwork that they work on for this type of hydraulic measures that happen under the bridge, where the foundation starts to get eaten away from below. So the foundations are fine, but underneath they're actually losing their
But I
stability.
think it's common.
And they did this through paperwork, so the 1960s guys did it all in paperwork and they'd all pass it on and explain how it works. Then the new guard came in with digital stuff, so all their laptops and computers.
Well, actually,
And as the new guys came in, they didn't fully translate all
these
that
two
stuff.
are very similar.
Yes.
Didn't talk to
Because
the
it's
old guys.
the
So they were ticking boxes saying that the bridge is fine, the bridge is fine. And then one day, someone was kayaking, the bridge is collapsing, and they're bringing it in, saying, and it only got inspected the week before. And it collapsed when the train went over. Everything was fine, but it just, it could have been a catastrophe. And it knocked out the Northern Rail for 6 months, so no trains were going past Northern Dublin for over 6 months. But the point was that bottom-up part would have been very helpful in a engineering standpoint. So I don't know. I'll probably put it in here as a policy thing.
Maybe shall we raise it's not only an educational aspect.
Any other ideas like that before we transfer?
Okay, so I don't put it.
A general.
I'm just confirm that communication is very important.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
found also in several projects.
No.
Do you think it's?
Well, I would say then this because they do the
Okay.
same. I know I put like project needs and everything, but
I guess that's a lot of
Let's
this
try
stuff
to
is just
think
about
of them
communication
like-
and the solution.
like they
Also, there
could
are
be
some,
used to do the same.
in our
So,
project, we have
maybe
Okay,
some,
I'm gonna bring this down very quick and we can map it out. And then I think that would probably be what's for the workshop. Guys, do you wanna start moving all your stuff down and mapping it out? So my suggestion here is, although it's very messy, the way we set it up, or the way I set it up, to be precise, just copy and paste everything here whenever this starts to work. And then just bring it down to your workspace. No, I'm gonna have to use my laptop. But yeah, you get the idea. If you just want to just copy your board and just put it down in your workspace, and then we'll drag them across to the map. So if you have like a flooding policy or flooding solution, you can just stick it down here somewhere on the map to say that's where it's appropriate. And then if it's social science, you could try pick a house, but try keep the connections. And then as we all layer the stuff on, we'll just see what kind of ideas were people coming up with and see if there's any overlap that's consistent. So I thought that was the easiest way of doing this, because if you just have like map, everyone understands what a city is in a built environment. And this way we can understand where everyone's headspace is at with assets and resilience. So sound good? Sorry, Marina Rafa, I know I left you in the absolute dark before we came in here. But surprise! Is that okay? Yeah, perfect, okay.
But I'm not sure.
So yeah, I'm hoping that I can just click and copy it, even if it's all the whole space. I just dump it there. Yeah.
Well,
I'll
we
delete
don't have
there.
anything, but I feel like all of these have come more or less very similar. So I'm not sure, like I'm just gonna leave it as it is. All of them, even if we don't have links for everything.
Yeah, that's a great one, actually. I'm part of that project, so I don't know why I didn't mention it.
This is quite.
So I'll tell you what, I'll start off by mapping that in, fold it in, so I'll put it over here. Let's just pick a building, this box over here. So this is, let's say, retrofits.
I'm just trying to see if there is something else we can link.
Thermal comfort. Single and seismic.
We love iPads.
But it's fine.
So that-
Then actually for us,
There we go. So I'm gonna take our flooding one first and try to pull this over.
This is just like 11
Yeah.
spaces to
Then I might
link.
ask them to say,
feel the same?
There's a couple. One's the university in Naples.
When
And
did you
then
start?
the other is a
When
facade
did you start?
company up by Bolzano. I'll have to get their names. Because I'm involved, but I can't remember all the partners' names.
24 or
Yeah, like because it was like some professor of the University of Aachen. Was my PhD tutor. So
These are
Marcel Schweig.
That's the person, that's the very person. In his PhD.
Yeah.
I know him, he was located at the same time in Japan.
Yes.
Chinese University.
Yes, really?
And that's where I come. So he has.
Mirror boards are so hard to do out of the mouse.
Yeah, they was fine. He's up there.
It's grand law.
Human adaptation and the regulation system is everything that you can do. So yeah, yes, he is part of the project.
Give my regards.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It's gonna get nice. Getting it with
I was lodged. So that's the river. Somewhere there.
You are
That's the river.
I watched the video of this
I was there with
Marcel
my
is really
kids. Sorry, I was there with my kids.
Really?
They were 5 and 8 years.
Yeah.
I really am. Marcel is for
Somewhere
me
there.
it's
That's good.
one of the best people I've met in the research area ever. Really, it was my tutor.
We are
So I
seven
was
actually
actually his first PhD student as a main supervisor.
Oh, no,
because he was still working in KTA,
Yeah.
KIT,
So-
with Andreas Wagner. But I was the student of the
Because then we are
only
going to
Marcel.
forget.
Yeah, Andreas was participating to my defense as well, but he was not my supervisor. So I spent so much time going to bring him back.
I would have liked to make my PhD work. What I think is that also questa l'idea è so I'm hunting for
Okay. Yeah.
So that's why I went further to the energy perspective.
Yeah.
On the scale.
Sorry, I didn't realize this would be so boring, this part. I might I think at this stage, we can just start mapping this out ourselves, because I'm just kind of realizing that that's all we have to do. But what if I did the rest of this, and I can send everyone then the Miro board on the emails, and everyone can see what came up out of all the mapping scenarios. And then if there's any ideas that you have, you can either use it for a new proposal. So it's like, hey, no one thought about connecting these dots, and let's try that. Or it could be something that you could use for a paper, or just something else your project. So that was the kind of concept of the workshop, come up with like some new way of thinking. Or it's not gonna happen at all. We're like, Jesus, no one knows what's going on. I'll let the others know, but I think at that stage, I think we're okay to do it.
Let me use my email. I'm not sure if.
No
problem. There's no like booking in the.
Yeah, exactly.
That's no problem. What we'll do it after. I can just set up an email now and
But
set
it
the mirror.
is really interesting to see also what the others are doing.
See how it all overlaps, and then sure.
I will hear from Lena.
Perfect. I'm gonna let the rest of them know so we can get this all set up. Okay, guys. So just to update, this is what we're planning. Myself and my colleagues are going to finish off the mapping. So we'll bring all the concepts down because it's very kind of laborious and I keep breaking the board. And we will create a map based on all the ideas that came up and all the concepts. And what we're going to do is share it with everyone in the room. So we'll share the Miro board and some screenshots if you want them. So the general idea of the workshop, as I was saying to my team here, it's just to see if there's any overlying concepts that we haven't thought about before or that we just didn't know about. See where everyone's head's at with different resiliency measures. See if there's like constant overlap between the teams. So if everyone's saying the same, like digital twins, heat risk, and alerts on people's apps, we can see there's common themes within the thread. And then anything unique, you might get some ideas. But the overall idea is that when we send this back to you, you have some material to either create a paper, go for a new proposal with a new concept, or it could be to, improve your own project that you're working on at the moment. It's just something new, or it's like, hey, have you thought about using that data to do this? So the idea was just to kind of come up with new concepts and ideas that could help everyone in the room. So with that being said, anyone who wants to share their email with me now, you can come up and we'll put it on the laptop. And that's the end of the workshop. So it was 10:30. Hopefully it wasn't too painful. It was a little bit chaotic on my side, but that's pretty much my life. So it's gone pretty standard for me. So yeah, thanks very much for coming. It's really good to see the turnout.